Amazing.
See.
That's just amazing. Hey, let me get to former House Speaker Tim Jones, who's on the phone now. Tim, how are you?
I'm great, Mark. Good to talk to you today.
Thanks for trying to bail me out on Senator Schott's name. I just completely drew a blank. I knew what town he was from. I just couldn't think of his name for a minute.
It happens all the time. It happens to me all the time, too. It's like somebody's like, something you know, and then they ask you, and you're like, yeah. It's Friday, Mark. It's okay.
That's okay. Yeah, I appreciate that. So you just got back from D.C., is that correct?
I did, Mark. I got a jump on Making America Great Again.
Awesome.
Started.
So that's awesome. So you're up there talking to congressmen in the House and the Senate.
Yes. So, Mark, I had a trip planned to attend a conference for a group that we belong to called the Republican Legislative Campaign Committee. They're basically a group that works in all 50 states to defend legislatures and to help make more legislatures Republican. And Mark, they did a good job this cycle.
I'd say.
And and you should see the maps they show us. At the conferences, it's a sea of red from sea to shining sea, and it's really remarkable. And while I was there, I took advantage of the time to speak with Senator Roy Blunt, who is very happy these days, as you can imagine, and to another great Missouri public servant, my good friend from the Missouri legislature, who's now a congressman, Congressman Jason Smith, who represents the southern portion of our state, mainly on the southeast side. And he was just elected, Mark, to one of only 8 leadership positions in the U.S. House. He's going to be the GOP caucus secretary.
Okay.
So I'll tell you, Mark, Missouri is well positioned with Senator Blunt and Congressman Smith, Congresswoman Wagner, Hartzler, Graves, Luke DeMeyer, and Billy Long down in the Southwest Missouri. We're well positioned to take full advantage of what the voters sent these folks there to do in making America great again. And Mark, the things they talked about, they're excited. You can see it in their eyes, you can hear it in their voices. Senator Blunt, Congressman Smith, they almost don't know where to start, but they know they're going to do a lot next year.
Well, and they have to, Tim, because
yes,
I mean, if I don't know that when the last time was a message was sent this clearly. And I know Democrats will argue, well, you didn't win the majority. But if you look at the Electoral College, I mean, the country's virtually all red. I love those maps that show all the counties that voted for Trump, a majority, versus the ones that voted for Hillary Clinton. There are a couple little islands of blue along the coasts. That's about it. So they've got to, like Ted Cruz said yesterday, they've got to put up or shut up or somebody's going to bring out the pitchforks.
Yeah, Senator Cruz is right. And, Mark, about the whole Electoral College versus the popular vote, we don't have a popular vote system right now.
Right.
I think I've made this argument many times. So it's irrelevant. The popular vote's irrelevant because that's not the system we live in. Now, if someday, I don't know if we ever were to convert to some kind of popular vote mechanism, well, then all the Republicans in California and all the Republicans in New York, who largely probably don't even bother voting for president right now, they would go vote, and I still think we would actually win. But so that argument needs to be put aside. I'll tell you a better measure to look at, Mark, and that's where the states are. We have 33 Republican governors. We have 69 of 99 legislative chambers, 29 attorney generals. I mean, there are 25 states, Mark, now that have a trifecta Republican government, meaning Republican governor, Republican House, Republican Senate. 25. Mark, do you know how many that have a Democratic trifecta?
I don't know. 10?
4.
4?
4. Here's another stat that shows you. So my point here is the mainstream media isn't talking about how well the Republicans did 2 weeks ago and how bad the Democratic Party is in shape right now. They are a smoldering heap. They want to talk about transition problems that are completely fantasy, I can tell you. I was just in D.C., Mark. Everybody is extremely happy the way the transition goes. And guess what, folks? Trump is ahead of where Obama, Bush, and Carter were at this point in their presidency, and maybe even Reagan. He is ahead of all them. So what they won't focus on is the reality of the fact that President Obama has been the best thing that's ever happened to the Republican Party. It took a little bit of time, but once people saw the effect of his policies, there has been a major revolt in this country. And I agree with you, Mark. Now they really have to govern.
They've got to.
They've been given the keys to the kingdom.
Yeah, they do. And where does that start? I mean, because I know that with Mike Pence down there, he knows how to hit the ground running because number one, he worked with a lot of these folks to begin with, but he knows how the laws are made. Where do they start? Is it to get this Obamacare stuff into place while the president-elect is up there at the White House as soon as he gets sworn in, erasing all these executive orders and trying to get some common sense into some of these agencies?
So as far as the executive branch, I think where Donald Trump will start is, yes, with the executive orders. I have heard from the top levels that there are probably a minimum of 50 executive orders that Donald Trump could erase on day one that would actually help American businesses move forward and start hiring again and start employing people again and help wages go up. Because you were right earlier. I was listening to you earlier. The pile-on over the last 8 to 10 years has been just immense on business in this country. Okay, from Congress's side, Mark, I think there's going to be a major tax reform package, some major tax cuts to spur economic growth. I think that is going to be a major component. And Obamacare. I think both the president in the executive branch and Congress, the House and the Senate, are both going to be working on major solutions to repeal and replace Obamacare.
Tim, is there any serious consideration of something like a flat tax? Is there any chance of it during the next 4 years?
I think it's a possibility, although, that's going to be something that honestly is probably going to take some more time. I think what we can do on the front end is come to grips with the fact that in the industrialized world, the United States ranks near the top as far as marginal tax rate.
Right.
We also have probably more loopholes and credits and offsets and subsidies than everybody else. So I think the first thing they'll do, Mark, is try and straighten out the absolute mess that the tax code has become. So what does that include? That includes some tax cuts. That includes closing some loopholes, broadening the base. I think eventually we could migrate to a more flat or fair tax system. But I think you got to put out some of the fires first. The other thing, Mark, I think you're going to see is major regulatory reform. Again, as you were talking earlier, it's not sexy. It's quite tedious, but it really is that fourth rail that is just hammering small business development and growth in this country.
It's a good point. And, Tim, I look forward to picking your brain on this as things move forward because I think we're going to see a flurry of activity in the next month and a half. So thank you so much for giving us some time.
Absolutely, Mark. And I would, folks should stay tuned in January and February. It is going to be fast and furious, and they're going to hit the ground running.
Awesome. Hey, thanks, Tim. Have a great weekend.
Have a great weekend, Mark.
Yep, thank you. Former Missouri House Speaker Tim Jones, who's clearly still in the thick of this thing. I guess I don't want us to use the term fast and furious because it reminds me of Eric Holder. So things are going to move quickly. How about that?